This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
I can go ahead and confirm it's going to be a wild night. George Santos is at the Donald Trump rally in New Hampshire. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking New Hampshire primary on a Tuesday. Warlord says in Trump we trust. I'm predicting Trump wins double digits tonight. I'm amazed it wasn't like Iowa and we didn't just come straight on and they'd be like, well, Trump won. Good night, everybody. Because that's what Iowa was. The moment the polls closed, Trump won. We do have a bit of a closer race tonight between Nikki Haley, who's trying to make a play for independence, and Donald Trump, who I still think is going to trounce Nikki Haley tonight in New Hampshire. We're going to check in with the results. Last time I checked, just a couple minutes before we went on the air, about 15% of the vote had been tallied in New Hampshire. We'll check in with the results. Once again, I've got a badass setup over here. We've got multiple locations we're going to be keeping an eye on. First things first. Here's your meme of the day. This is what real men look like before wokeness ruined everything. Well, of course, Wasserman called it for Trump. We all know it's a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump has won New Hampshire. Apparently, when the first results started coming in, Nikki Haley had a slight lead. Some people were like, stop the count. Currently, we are looking at Trump has about a 10-point advantage over Nikki Haley. Only 16% of the votes counted. I predicted around 15%. Be Trump's margin of victory. So far, it's about 10%. That's with 16% of the votes counted. That's a lot of math right there, and you know I'm not good at math.
You take your 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
Question is, does Nikki Haley stay in the race past tonight? If she loses by double digits, what's the fucking point? Anything short of a win, what's the fucking point? She's going to lose in her own home state. Doug Burgum with 8 votes. Rachel Swift, whoever the fuck that is, has 4 votes. Ramaswamy garnering 14 votes. Coming in behind Mike Pence and Chris Christie. And all the total write-ins. That is hilarious. Ron DeSantis, about half a percentage point. Richard, good evening. Alexandra, good evening. So glad to see everybody. Welcome to our nothingness that is the New Hampshire primary coverage. This is our tally we've got from the AP. I want to go ahead and show you. This is the right screen I have over here, where we're going to be following the different campaigns. You see the Donald Trump campaign. You see the Nikki Haley campaign. For some reason, they have the White House. They have the White House up. But I wanted to point out, do you see that eyeball? Does that guy look familiar to you? A man that I kind of got tired of talking about for a little while, but I've got to be honest, he's kind of won me over. That's former GOP Representative George Santos hanging out at the Donald Trump campaign in New Hampshire. I can go ahead and tell you I'm not high enough for this shit. Haley stays in until the Colorado case resolves. Richard, you know, that is probably an astute observation. Haley being backed with Koch brothers money with the never Trump kind of contingency in the Republican Party. That's possible. Nikki Haley campaign watching CNN. Is George Santos having a beer? He shook his head right after I asked that question, so possibly not. For some reason, I like the guy. And he is the reason that I now say that I have an MFA in... See people coming up taking pictures with him. Fucking George Santos lied his way into Congress. Nobody even fucking checked. I've never had anybody like fucking. I have a degree in radio, television, film production. Not a goddamn person has ever checked to see if I actually have a degree in radio, television, film production. So I've just started saying I have an MFA in film now. Because who the fuck cares? Also, we're gonna talk about the doomsday clock here in a second. Santos is out on bond right now. Dustin, good evening. We're gonna talk about the doomsday clock, which is set to 1.5 minutes from midnight. Still, I kind of find ironic. Given the fact that the city I'm sitting in is going to set a record high, I believe it's tomorrow. I do not believe it was today, but tomorrow is going to set a record high for this day in January. This will come like 72 hours after setting a record low. It was literally single digits. It was colder here in the South than it was in Antarctica. Quesadilla, good evening. Days after we set a record low temperature, we're going to set a record high temperature. But some people think that climate change is not occurring. I am not high enough for this shit. Life is too short. You might as well get fucking high. You might as well get trashed. Anyway, comprehensive coverage. The New Hampshire primary is what we're doing here on the Troll Patrol. Coffee. I've been saying Trump's got syphilis for years now. For years. Here's your meme of the day. Well, what real men look like before wokeness ruined everything.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
In case no one's told you recently, be sure to watch the
Life is too short to walk the
Be sure to wash
or
your
a sexy
ass.
asshole. Wash your ass.
Still 16% of the vote in. We've got other news we're going to be doing. A lot of New Hampshire coverage, though. I've got plenty of stuff, but we're also going to talk about The Rock is now on the board of directors of the WWE. He was on CNBC earlier today, like I'm not gonna pass up an opportunity to do another story about wrestling. The Rock was on CNBC earlier today. We're also Dave Chappelle apparently got catty about Cat Williams. Apparently, Cat Williams' comments still reverberating throughout the entertainment industry. Dave Chappelle has his panties in a wad. Concert goers are suing Madonna. Apparently left them waiting for a very long time before she came out on stage. I just kind of expect that. If you're going to see Madonna, she's going to show up 3 hours late. Come on. I got some real downer stories, but I don't know if I want to talk about them tonight. We may do politics, and we may skip to The Rock and Dave Chappelle, Madonna. We may not do do you really want to hear about why a guy fucking says he killed his wife and 3 daughters? No, I don't really want to hear that tonight. That's the kind of thing we usually cover, though. What about the dude that's on the run? Killed 8 people in Texas, found dead. We usually cover that kind of thing here. It's another day in mass shooting. USA killed 8 people in Texas. DJ Dub! I believe they voted all today. I do not believe they had early voting in New Hampshire, but I might be wrong on that. And I would assume that one of the stories I'm getting ready to play you will answer that question for us. I actually hope. I would assume I picked out enough news stories about the New Hampshire primary that we will get properly educated. Warlord wants to hear the stories of death and destruction. What about we got some Navy SEALs are lost at sea. Yemen. What were Navy SEALs doing in Yemen? That's a good question, isn't it? All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. This is the place to be for your New Hampshire coverage. If you didn't see the setup we got, we can flip over to the results. We now got 18% of the vote in. Donald Trump looks to be running away with it. About a 10% margin right now over Nikki Haley in the New Hampshire primary. I've also got multiple screens. We are keeping an eye on the Haley campaign, the Trump campaign. We will take their speeches when they happen live. Or I've got multiple feeds going on over here. If we really want to get some insight, we can go over to Washington Post, who is now projecting that Donald Trump has won the New Hampshire primary.
And the undeclared voters who chose to vote Democrat today saw on their ballot and how this played out.
Yeah, I actually have a sample ballot in front of me that I picked up yesterday. I don't know if you can see all of these names, but there are more than 20 people on here who are registered to be on the ballot, on the Democratic ballot in New Hampshire, and no one's named Joe Biden.
Yeah, we're going to talk about
something that is.
We're going to talk about Joe Biden's absence.
He won a write-in campaign.
Yes, he won New Hampshire, though.
Just now, previously from the Democratic Party chair here in
the AP is projecting that Trump has won New Hampshire.
Joe Biden. But this does show something that is unique to New Hampshire. They did decide to go first, even though
there is no primary anymore.
And the DNC, as a national committee for a national party.
So not only do we have the Washington Post over here that we can take, I've also got, oh God, this is the perfect time too.
A watch party. It's no longer a watch. It's just a party at this point because President Trump has won New Hampshire.
Here's Right Side Broadcasting.
He won what time did he won before?
With Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Let me tell you, I was meeting with the Trump campaign last night, and they said, well, we'll see it called maybe close to 9 o'clock.
So he won it. I'm being told he won at 8:03 officially. 8:03.
It's hilarious. Nikki Haley is such a joke. I mean, this problem. Can you imagine being a donor and lighting your money on fire like that? donating to Nikki Haley, begging her to stay in the race. I mean, these political consultants, they should go to jail for continuing this campaign. I mean, it is so dishonest, I can't even believe it.
Wow.
Biden is not even winning in New Hampshire. Can you get a clarification on the
Biden has won New Hampshire.
You guys can update it and slap
New
me
Hampshire.
or let me know on air. But Biden, a write-in candidate.
Isn't it a sad state of affairs when you have a Democrat primary going on, you got the president who's Democrat, and they're saying, please write his name in as the candidate. I mean, you know, to me, that just tells you the Democrats don't even want this guy left on the ballot anymore.
Yeah.
The write-in is 51 point.
It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the Democratic Party not wanting New Hampshire to be the first state. They want the Democratic Party officially recognizes South Carolina as the first state in the Democratic primary. So New Hampshire is not official. They're just like, they have no obligation to educate their viewers whatsoever. Do they even know that? Surely they do. Surely Marge is smart enough to know. I don't even know who this goober is. He looks like he would be the villain on a daytime a soap opera. Tell me he would fucking own a company and he's having an affair with like 3 women in the town. But they flat out, they don't educate their viewers. It's bullshit. I do a show with a troll head, and I feel the need to, like, fill people in on what's going on. Try to answer questions and shit. God damn it. And also make, like, really lewd jokes.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside.
90 seconds. This is 90 seconds. Content warning, fuckers. It is 90 seconds to midnight, according to the Doomsday Clock. 2024 Doomsday Clock revealed.
Running out for planet Earth. That is according to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. Every year, the group adjusts the hands of what's known as the Doomsday Clock, and it's meant to show how close humans are to destroying Earth. Now, folks, we're now at 90 seconds to midnight. For the record, that is the closest point it's ever been to global catastrophe, thanks in part to the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. International correspondent Jason Bellini keeping track of doomsday time for us. Jason, it's like, I get it. I
don't even mention, like, Israel doing a genocide. Socialist Aunt, good evening.
Is that the security board has said that, has determined for themselves that really this is not a better situation than it was last year. They were at 90 seconds last year at this time, and what's changed?
We just covered that Trump won.
Potential conflagration in the Middle East, because you have the potential for the United States being drawn into a war that involves Iran and Israel and other Middle East countries. You have climate change, the hottest temperature on record last year. Artificial intelligence posing new challenges and threats. So with all of these things, they encourage global leaders to do more and do better. Here's where they announced what happened.
Last year, we expressed amplified concern by moving the clock to 90 seconds to midnight, the closest to global
Starla, good evening.
ever been. The risks of last year continue with unabated ferocity and continue to shape this year. Today, we once again set the doomsday clock to express a continuing and unprecedented level of risk. It is 90 seconds to midnight.
90 seconds to midnight.
You know where your kids are.
Yeah, it's pretty much gloom and doom that we're hearing from this board. And over the years, it's gone as far as 17 minutes a few decades ago, right after the end of the Cold War. But now this pronouncement that we're just 90 seconds from catastrophe, it's pretty frightening stuff. And as you mentioned, the war in Ukraine, Russia's war on Ukraine, well, that's a key factor here because
oh shit,
increasing the number of nuclear weapons.
Hold on. It looks like Haley is speaking right now. AP even giving her audio. Wrong one.
I'm going to escort you all through
there we go.
around the guardrails that we are.
Yeah, the AP isn't even taking the Nikki Haley speech.
Yep, I'm just waiting for these folks to gather up their stuff so we can get them all
Hold on a second.
down to the other end.
I've got another feed here. Does Washington Post have it? Yeah.
We actually repurposed the...
I want to first say thank you to my husband, who I know is watching right now. I love you. We're excited to have you. Thank you. I want to thank my kids who are here, Rita and Naylan and Josh, who have really kind of stepped up and just given...
The AP didn't think she was important enough to take her speech.
And I am incredibly blessed by their support. I have my parents at home, and I will always say that the way they raised me, to know that we lived in the best country in the world, but to also know that the best way you appreciate your blessings is to give back. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I love you so much. To my siblings, to my in-laws, to everybody back at home, to Vicki for helping me take care of Mom and Dad. Thank you for that. You know, I will tell you, it feels like it's been a lifetime, but it has been almost a year that we've been campaigning in New Hampshire, touching every hand, answering.
I think it's impossible based on
and we had,
the percentage.
The most amazing thing happen is the second that we got the endorsement from Governor Chris Sununu.
Plus they have exit polls.
I mean, a true
The
governor.
Nunu sounds like a euphemism for sex.
He shows up at a diner. He shows up at the brewery. He loves the people of New Hampshire. He has been with me every single day at every single event. Chris, I couldn't have done it without you. And I want to thank someone who was with me.
Big sweet Sununu.
He's a patriot. He's a hardcore conservative. And he is my friend, General Don Bolduc. And Sharon, thank you so much.
Don Bulldog? Crazy ass motherfucker.
I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory tonight. He earned it. And I want to acknowledge that. Now, you've all heard the chatter among the political class. They're falling all over themselves, saying this race is over.
Oh, it's over. It's been over. There was never a race, Nikki.
I have news for all of them. New Hampshire is first in the nation. It is not the last in the nation. This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go. And the next one is my sweet state of South Carolina.
She's gonna lose there too. It's embarrassing.
At one point in this campaign, there were 14 of us running. And we were at 2% in the polls. Well, I'm a fighter. And I'm scrappy. And now we're the last one standing next to Donald Trump.
You're not even close. You're not even close.
We got close to half of the vote. We still have a ways to go, but we keep moving up.
It's been closing. It's been as much as 10%. Right now it's about 6%.
Politics is way too personal. It's not personal for me. I voted for Trump twice. I was proud to serve America.
Idiot.
I agree with many of his policies.
Idiot.
I decided to run because I'm worried about the future of our country and because it's time to put the negativity and chaos behind us.
Someone is going nuts in that room.
Class Americans. We have a border that is totally open and dangerous, creating a disaster in our country. Unbelievable. We have schools that are failing too many of our children, and we have a world on fire with a war in Europe and the Middle East and a huge and growing threat from China. And then you look at Washington, D.C. We have a Congress that fights about everything and accomplishes nothing. And we have Joe Biden in the White House making one bad decision after another when he's making any decisions at all. Our country's in a real mess. And the question is, who's going to fix it? With Donald Trump, Republicans have lost almost every competitive election. We lost the Senate. We lost the House. We lost the White House. We lost in 2018. We lost in 2020. And we lost in 2022. The worst kept secret in politics is how badly the Democrats want to run against Donald Trump. They know
that's true too.
Republican in the country who Joe Biden can defeat. You can't fix the mess if you don't win an election. A Trump nomination is a Biden win and a Kamala Harris presidency.
What?
I defeat Biden handily.
I don't think that's true.
With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment. You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos.
That he'll die or they'll have some kind of health complications. Step
The
aside.
other day, Donald Trump accused me of not providing security at the Capitol on January 6th. Now, I've long called for mental competency tests for politicians over the age of 75. Trump claims he'd do better than me in one of those tests.
I'd say 65.
Maybe he wouldn't. But if he
Fuck, I don't know that I could pass one of these competency tests. I'm almost 40. Some days I got the dumb. I salute you, Quesadilla.
Most Americans do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump.
They don't want you either.
The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election. And I think it should be the Republicans that win this election. So our fight is not over.
I like the way she put that, actually.
In the next 2 months,
First party to retire their 80-year-old candidate.
will have their say. We should honor them and allow them to vote. And guess what? In the next 2 months, Joe Biden
He still ain't gonna win.
any younger or any better. We'll have all the time we need to defeat Joe Biden. When we get to South Carolina, Donald Trump's going to have a harder time falsely attacking me.
Wrong!
The people of South Carolina know I cut their taxes. They know I signed the toughest illegal immigration bill in the country. They know we passed voter ID and tort reform and ethics reform. And they know we moved 35,000 people from welfare to work.
It's going to be embarrassing for her when she loses.
Every time I've run for office in South Carolina, I've beaten the political establishment. They're lined up against me again.
What?
No surprise.
She is the political establishment.
South Carolina voters don't want a coronation. They want
Trump's more of an outsider than her.
And we're gonna give them one. Because we are just getting started. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for the love, New Hampshire. We're going home to South Carolina.
The weather should be better.
I love you too. Thank you.
Gonna get a lot warmer for you, ma'am.
Now, I want to say it's really important that I say some additional thank yous. I thanked Governor Chris Sununu and General Don and Sharon Bolduc, but I also want to mention just a few other people who've been incredibly gracious to us. To the entire Sununu family, including Governor John Sununu and Senator John E. Sununu. Thank you.
What was it? Somebody brought out Futurama? I've kind of seen
thank you for your
a third of the show.
For your encouragement and
that sounds vaguely familiar. That might have been what I was thinking of. Yeah, soak it up, Nimrata.
Kim Rice, thank you for being with me since the very beginning. I love you.
Nikki Haley vowing to stay in the race.
They're not even gonna stay with her the whole time.
A reminder that Nikki Haley's husband is actually serving overseas, and she gave a shout out to him tonight. Haley not coming in first place in New Hampshire, a state that she talked about investing basically like the past year in. She's been there, a presence since she launched her campaign almost a year ago, and this has been a very important state for her. But she is vowing to fight on. She had some hard hits against Donald Trump, and she plans to stay in this race. Let's go to Jorge Ribas for more, who is live at Nikki Haley's event in Concord. Jorge, let's go to you.
I don't understand why they just cut away from her.
I mean, she's still thanking all the people who helped her campaign here in New Hampshire. And you heard at the beginning of that speech where she congratulated Donald.
Oh, they're just talking about people. We don't want to talk about people. AP did finally pick her up. Right Side Broadcasting still over here.
Not the primary, the caucus. Christina, Bob, and myself sat down and we talked about
Right Side Broadcasting
and what you can't do and all the information you need to know. So we got New Hampshire wrapped up
at the Trump campaign.
This is what you need to know.
Yeah, Nikki Haley obviously skipping Nevada. Is it still a caucus for Republicans? It is both a primary and a caucus for Democrats. It's both.
Now, we've been getting emails from viewers like you claiming they do not see Donald J. Trump's name on the Nevada primary ballot. And so a lot of people are claiming what's going on in Nevada. Are they trying to keep him off the ballot? Are they trying to block him from being the GOP nominee? Well, we want to get all the facts. To that, we turn to Trump attorney from Save America and our own Christina Bobb joining me to talk about Nevada.
Oh, her. Now I know who he's talking about.
meaningless primary.
This should be fun.
In Nevada. Let's talk about that. A lot of people may not know there's a primary, but there's also a caucus. Let's talk about it.
So it is that way on the Republican side.
Perfect to say it's a meaningless primary. It is a meaningless primary, which is why Donald Trump's name is not on that ballot, as well as Ron DeSantis. If you are a Trump voter, if you want to support Donald Trump for the early state of Nevada, you must go to the caucus on February 8th. There is a primary. It is a meaningless primary that was created as a result of the leftist Democrats in the Nevada state who were embarrassed when Bernie Sanders embarrassed Joe Biden in 2020. They wanted to remove the process from a caucus into a primary, ironically, so that they could control the outcome a little bit better. That's what it looked like anyway. But the Republicans did not migrate over to a primary process. They have maintained the...
They did do that, though, yeah.
All of the delegates for the Republican Party are awarded through the caucus. The candidates have to pick whether they want to be part of the...
Right Side Broadcasting says with about 35% of the vote,
wants to win those delegates.
It's about a 10% spread between Trump and Nevada.
Both chose to be part of the caucus, which is why their names are not on the ballot. So if you want to support Donald Trump, ignore the primary ballot. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump or actually winning the Nevada caucus. And make sure you go to your precinct to caucus for Donald Trump on February 8th.
So
it's interesting.
Go to the Nevada
caucus back in 2016, and it's all about controlling the.
That's what Right Side Broadcasting has going on. We'll take Trump's speech live when it happens. It feels weird. I got all these stories about the New Hampshire primary, but like now it just kind of feels pointless. Like I had a whole show planned around it. Trump won. If you're just joining us, Trump won. Oh, the Senator Kennedy needs cock.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Guys, when did that happen? What, back in maybe August? September, maybe when they came back into session. He read, was it All Boys Aren't Blue? And, what's the other one that they're always banning? It's like an award-winning memoir and shit. But there's like, he has a fantasy about sucking a dildo. And there's like an illustration of it in the book. And that's what they call pornographic because, you know, right-wingers are fucking morons. He was reading from those books. And it's one of the most hilarious things. If you go to the Troll Patrol clips, I clipped it, and I'm pretty sure I did. But, like, read... If you wanted to Google, like, Kennedy reads... But what's the name of it? Genderqueer. I'm pretty sure that's the one. He's reading... he reads 2 books during the hearing. I'm almost positive one of them was Genderqueer. And I think the other one was All Boys Aren't Blue. I don't know which one that came from. But it cracks me the fuck up. I could not make it through that clip when we watched it. So yeah, did you know there's a primary tonight?
Is on New England today as voters go to the polls in New Hampshire for their state's first in the nation presidential primary.
And that's where we find 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi, who's live at a polling place in Manchester. Ted?
Well, Mike Shannon, I'm outside the Webster School polling place in Manchester, and just a few minutes before we came on the air, I went inside and I talked to the person in charge. He says they've just hit 50% voter turnout here at this precinct with about 2 hours left to go. And any way you look at it, this is an unusual New Hampshire primary. On the Republican side, Donald Trump is the first former president in generations to have his name on the ballot to get back his former job. He's facing an aggressive challenge from Nikki Haley. And in the Democratic primary, President Biden didn't even fight.
When's the last time it happened? It was like Teddy Roosevelt tried to run as a third party and got trounced. Is that the last time it happened in U.S. history that a former president ran again?
For the primary because the National Democratic Party
last time it happened
trying to stop New Hampshire from voting first. But Biden supporters didn't want the president to be embarrassed by tonight's results, so they're mounting a write-in campaign for him. And no matter who they're supporting, voters told us they see casting a ballot as their civic duty.
I'm a registered Republican.
So who'd you go for?
Donald Trump.
Tell me why.
Because I feel like he's the only one that can. He's really fought for us before 4 years, and now we really need someone that can go in and fix our borders and fix the economy.
I support Nikki wholeheartedly. I think we need new leadership, not just in the Republican Party, but in the whole country, and I think she can help usher that in.
So the big question, who'd you go for?
Joseph Biden, of course.
So what was the write-in process like? Is it easy to figure out? Was it confusing?
Well, very easy because we have the Democrats have their own ballot, and at the very bottom it says write-in. You write in his name and you circle the oval.
And voting will continue here in New Hampshire until 8 p.m. Polls have shown Trump with a strong lead over Haley, double digits, but she's hoping if there's a big turnout today by independent voters, she could pull off the upset.
Nope.
12 News.
8% right now. 8%. Whoa. 8% is what we're looking at. It has fluctuated back and forth. Nikki Haley was depending on independents, turning out voters who weren't Republicans. That was like her whole strategy. It didn't work for Bernie. That was Bernie's strategy, was turning out non-voters. He thought that he could animate a section of the Democratic Party that didn't normally vote. And unfortunately, that's not just how it works. That's not how it works. At least not in primaries. Like fucking nobody's paying attention to the primaries, so that's a real detriment to any kind of insurgent candidate, and that plays well to the establishment. This is independent voters being interviewed by ABC News.
The White House and the first in the nation primary set for tomorrow in New Hampshire. Our Zareen Shah sat down with the voters in the fiercely independent live free or die state to take their temperature on what issues matter most to them. And that all important question some are still pondering with less than 24 hours to go, which candidate they'll support.
I love you, New Hampshire.
For decades, New Hampshire has been the first primary in the country. Retail politics, the name of the game here in the live free or die state. And as ever, independent voters loom large at this early make or break moment in the primary season. We sat down with 6 highly engaged voters we met at campaign events around New Hampshire. How many events have all of you been to?
Okay, at least 30, 35 maybe.
Yeah, probably 30.
Probably 25. Raise your hand if you're an independent voter. Independents make up over 40% of New Hampshire voters. And on election day, they can request a Republican or Democratic ballot.
Yeah, don't want to miss this. I've been looking forward to this, but I need a coffee.
Little child, that keeps peace in the family.
And despite just a few left to choose from,
we ran out of candidates. They all dropped out.
some are still on the fence at the 11th hour. Raise your hand if you're an undecided voter.
I've changed my mind about a dozen times so far.
These voters telling us issues that matter the most to them.
But when you speak to the average working class voter, they have increasing debt. Everything has become more expensive for them, and that's what they're feeling.
The candidate courting these undecided voters the hardest, Nikki Haley.
Can you hear that sound? That's the sound of a two-person race.
Haley's team is making a...
That was cringe.
We're getting conservatives, we're getting moderates, we're getting independents.
But with the GOP field down to 2, can the strategy be a winning one?
No.
If you're betting your success on independent voters voting in a party primary for you, you're fighting uphill and then some.
Is this state a must-win for her?
If Haley's not able to put together a win here, I think then you have to ask, well, where's her next best shot?
Haley is down roughly 10 points to Trump, a number
that South Carolina.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended his campaign.
If we don't have a clear path to victory, accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign.
And even though the Republican contest is the competitive one, some on our panel are considering voting Democrat this year.
Who is going to pull a Republican ballot? 4 people are going to pull a Republican ballot. Who's going to pull a Democratic ballot? So 2 people still figuring it out.
The candidate they are considering may surprise you.
I'm leaning toward Dean Phillips.
I'm leaning towards Dean Phillips.
Biden and the DNC removed the president's name from the New Hampshire ballot.
I'd never even seen his face until last night.
Phillips.
They're like, oh, we love us some Dean Phillips. I cover politics nightly. Well, used to be nightly. I'd never even seen this motherfucker's face until last night. But they're all about some Dean Phillips.
Is polling 50 points behind Biden in New Hampshire, and the delegates won't even count.
You all ready for some change?
But it's possible Dean Phillips' numbers could raise eyebrows.
Is Joe Biden about to get embarrassed in this state on Tuesday?
I think so.
I see almost everyone nodding.
My vote
is
against Biden.
The other 3 voters are split between Trump, Haley, and our 6th person is now undecided. 4 years ago, in the general election, 4 of these voters backed Trump. 1 for Biden, the last a third-party candidate. One thing this group does seem to agree on.
I think President Trump is going to win. I think after New Hampshire, I think if he wins this state, Nikki Haley has to win it in order for it to continue. But if she loses this state and Ron DeSantis loses, the election's over.
Who agrees with Cooper? Who thinks that Donald Trump is going to win on Tuesday?
I don't want him to win, but I think it's wishful thinking that he's not. But
that's the one thing I think that everyone agrees on.
Oh, yeah, he's going to win.
Like this country is angrier right now than it was before.
Unbelievable.
Unlike parts of the country, after the 2020 election, this group seemingly at peace with their deep differences.
Sitting here today with very divergent opinions about who we're supporting, but we were all civil. Whatever candidate gets elected, we have to find a way to converse with each other in a civil manner and respect other people. Everybody here, everybody in this country is right to vote for who they want.
We'll all be watching how it plays out tomorrow. Our thanks to Zareen for that.
It played out like this. Shut the fuck up, George Stephanopoulos. It played out like this. Trump is going to finish somewhere between 8 and 10% of the vote, it looks like. He keeps yo-yoing back and forth. Joe Biden won the Democratic primary through a write-in candidacy. But Democrats were trying to take advantage of Joe Biden not being on the ballot in New Hampshire to try to score some momentum.
All the focus is on the Republican primary. However, Democrats are on the ballot as well. You know who's not on the ballot is President Biden.
Very true.
That has not stopped, though, a large contingent to really push that this can be a write-in campaign, despite the fact that Dean Phillips has also been campaigning against President Biden.
Yeah, as has Marianne Williamson as well. They are making a play for that Democratic nomination. And for the latest on the Democratic primary.
Just to be clear, I like Lester. I got no beef with Lester. I don't like George Stephanopoulos for a plethora of reasons.
We'll turn things over to our Kirsten Glavin. She is live for us in Nashua. Kirsten?
Alexandria, good evening.
Well, Corey, Congressman Phillips just stopped by here within the past 30 minutes or so, making his final pitch to voters. He does have one more stop before heading to his campaign watch party later tonight. Phillips, who is originally from Minnesota, as well as Democratic candidate Marianne Williamson, have been considered long shot candidates really throughout this whole process. They've been making their cases that Biden is a weak.
They look like the couple that'd be giving you a look across the board.
The party needs to nominate someone else. They've also both expressed serious concern that Biden will lose and are therefore offering alternatives to try and beat former President Donald Trump. Philip is a businessman who's been embracing his role as an underdog in this election, counting on support from undeclared voters. And this is Williamson's second time running for president. She's an
BB girl, good evening. I'm sorry you bricked your phone.
Oprah Winfrey. Williamson has touted her economic agenda, saying she's
sucks, but get your Obama
influences in the White House.
Get your Obama phone.
I've seen her at voting locations today, but I did speak with Phillips about his campaigning here in the Granite State so far. Take a listen. So regardless of what happens tonight, you're in it for the long haul.
Oh, darn right. I'm out of here tomorrow, and I'm going to pound the pavement and do what you do when you run for president. I wish and I invite President Biden to do the same. Get out and debate, meet voters, do some town halls, face the press like all of you, answer questions that are not scripted. That's a pretty basic responsibility of running for the United States presidency, and I'm...
They've got like some sort of delivery truck that says Dean on the side of it. That's goofy.
I'm going to go practice it, and I think people are responding.
Phillips acknowledged that some polls do have him at about 7% tonight, but he said he is adamant that he will be polling a lot higher. So we'll see what the voters decide. It's the latest live here in Nashua. I'm Kirsten Glavin, NBC 10 Boston.
I'm amazed he's polling at 7%. That blows my fucking mind. I have a candidate forum with Chank, Marianne Williamson, and Dean Phillips. Dean's Delivery. Are they bringing me some goddamn dip? I love Dean's dip. I bought some. Let me tell you. I got an Instacart order this morning. I selected between 10 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll be goddamn, I woke up at 11. My groceries had been delivered at like 10:07. So they just sat outside my door for an hour. It's like, oh, probably not that warm out there, so. I don't like. I've got that candidate forum in my back pocket, but I'd rather talk about this shit than do the Democratic candidate forum. One of the people that was up in New Hampshire campaigning for Nikki Haley, in her losing bid, 30% of the vote counted. Trump sitting at about what? 8%? 8% lead over Nikki Haley at the moment. I predicted it would be double digits. Perhaps not, but it will be a more rural area vote coming in the rest of the night, so it's possible that Trump will open up his lead. One of the people that campaigned for Nikki Haley in her losing bid was Judge Judy.
Jen, Steve, this is only the second time that Judge Judy has publicly dipped her toe into politics, but earlier this month she endorsed Haley. And you might remember back in 2020, Judge Judy endorsed Democratic presidential candidate and former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg. Judge Judy says she believes Haley is the best choice for...
She's got a horrible taste.
Particularly given the fact that she believes former President Trump and President Biden are both too old.
Put your money where your mouth is. You got to get up off your behind if you believe that and travel 1,700 miles if that's what it takes to tell the people of New Hampshire that it's a critical time for them.
And coming up at 11 tonight, we'll have more highlights from our sit-down. We're live in Exeter, Ariel Metropolis, WMUR News 9.
In a dramatic break with the White House.
Oh, shut up. I don't know her name. Is that Campos? Yeah, Judge Booty. Man, she got a big old dumper. Nikki Haley's campaign just already emptied out. It is sad. Depressing. We're still waiting for Trump. We'll listen to him for a little bit. Who knows how long? I don't know, like, I had Kornacki saying, like, oh, it's got good signs for Nikki Haley tonight, and, like, I kind of feel weird playing it. Apparently I did not have the right clip. See, I don't who even gives a shit. Move on. Ooh. Let's talk about somebody who used to be a candidate for president and who is not in New Hampshire. And I'll keep an eye on Trump here, and if he comes to the podium. Congratulations, Mr. Tim Scott of South Carolina. For the longest time, we didn't think that Mindy even existed. It was his last-ditch effort to try to move the needle in the spelling campaign. He unveiled his fiancée Mindy. I guess she wasn't his fiancée at the time. She's now his fiancée. So in the span of just a couple months, she went from imaginary girlfriend to future Mrs. Scott. Let's talk about somebody who is in the running to be vice president. My money is on Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe that is who Donald Trump is going to pick to be his vice presidential candidate. She comes from a state that he needs to win. He wants to pick some sort of wokeness. He wants to pick a diversity candidate. He wants to pick a woman or a black man, something token. That's the only way I can put it. I think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she has been sucking his ass. Alina Habba is apparently really fucking dumb. But one of the other front runners for his vice presidential pick is Kari Lake, who also comes from a state that Donald Trump needs to win in order to pull out a victory. Bombshell secret audio reveals a plot to bribe Kari Lake to stay out of her Senate race. Arizona Republican Party Chair Jeff DeWitt allegedly spoke to GOP Senate candidate Kari Lake, detailing a plan to encourage her not to run last year. The conversation between the two was recorded and published on Tuesday by the UK Daily Mail.
So what's going on? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This
Their friend.
there are very powerful people who want to keep you out.
Oh no, they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well,
really?
You're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Interesting. I find Marjorie Taylor Greene more attractive than Carrie Lake. Let's have a vote with the chat. Who is more attractive? I find Marjorie Taylor Greene more attractive. Carrie Lake is a smarter woman. I think. Carrie Lake is more savvy. I believe. She's definitely more educated. DJ Dev's like, no. I mean, we're not having a commitment to anybody around here. These nuts. Why? Okay, you're saying Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of a troll.
Hey Justin, are you trolling?
And you wonder why I might find something in common, something admirable about her. Oh goddamn. Okay. Anyway. Apparently, the headline led us to believe that she got bribed, but it just sounds like a vague threat.
Correct.
Maybe. This is rap. Don't go. Do me a favor though. I don't get myself in trouble. This, if you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
Not either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They said the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know? So
what's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who.
Is she eating a muffin?
Let me just tell you what. Let's just say there are people calling around.
Who's on first?
Gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't. Because I got offered to buy out. Don't use it. Because then we lose our ability to get things done in the future.
Here's my problem. Rather than just say, let's work with her, she's a great candidate. Because they don't own me. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know, it's about ownership.
It's about control.
He's eating a muffin.
It's about...
I'm betting Carrie Lake leaked it. That's where I'm assuming it came from. The Carrie Lake camp. She gave it to the Daily Mail.
Being on the team. I guess that's... You know what I mean?
They want to be on the team.
They want you to be on their team.
But
just team. You know?
But if they're pushing a globalist agenda, I can't do that.
What does that mean?
What do they want me to do?
You want me to stay out for 2 years.
This is the Republican Party chair of Arizona. This guy's the Republican Party chair of Arizona.
But, I said, you can do whatever she wants. Talking head, this and that. So, the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So, the ask I got today from back east was, here's the state between us. Is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and give her, to keep her out? And I said, well, what are you willing to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
This is about defeating Trump. And I think that's a bad thing for our country. DeSantis is not America first. This is about the final death blow to Trump. And I don't think that's good for our country.
And you know I love Trump. I love Trump.
It's not good for...
See, I feel like maybe it's the haircut. Like, for some reason, I'm just not a fan of I'm not a fan of anybody with short hair. I like myself better with long hair. But, like, I feel like she smells like an old lady. Like... I don't even know how to describe that, just what old ladies smell.
Our country, Jeff.
It's not, but at the same time, I'm not even sure Trump can win again. I don't know that he can win again. I think what it really comes down to for a lot.
We may be cutting away from this and going to Trump very, very soon. He might be walking out imminently.
People, it's not really about like control or agenda. It's just about the ability to raise money to win. You know, if you really want to know, all of politics boils down to money. I think. And even on their end, like what makes them the most money.
I know all these consultants don't want their payday to end, and I don't want to make a deal with these kind of people. This is a hill worth dying on. I'm not. If they're going to steal the election to make me and our movement go away, I'm not letting them do that. I owe it to the people of Arizona to carry their torch.
I mean, I like flowery smells. That's...
But you pause.
I kind of smell like flowers.
This is the battles right now, Jeff.
And refill your coffers.
No, the battle is right now. The battle is right now, and we don't have.
Knowing is half the battle.
You're not.
She kind of looks like Pat Benatar, and she just said love is a battlefield, I think.
You can't scratch their back. It's not afraid of you.
Yeah.
You don't have anything to offer them. And they're sitting around people that have stuff to offer them. You know what I mean? It's just, it's a back scratching club. That's all DC is. It's a big back scratching club.
Well, he's talking about how donors don't want to back her candidacy. And, like, I'm assuming that, you know, she feels that the party is against her in the primary.
You're in no position to scratch anybody's back, and you've already made it known that if you get there, you're not going to scratch anybody's back. I don't scratch people's back. You know, I've been on the outs with a lot of people for a long time because I don't scratch backs. You know, where are we in 2 years if they steal the election again?
Listen to what you're saying. Why don't we do something about it so that we the people can pick our...
We're eating pretzels now.
I'm willing to accept that. And I'm going to be the biggest pain in these people's... Go back and tell them that. I'm running, and I'm going to be the biggest pain in their...
I'm willing to tell them that.
And they're going to have to kill me to stop me.
No, I know. Look. And
you don't have to tell.
Wow, what a conversation. That was Carrie Lake having a conversation with the state Republican Party chair, Jeff DeWitt. Apparently encouraging her not to run, keeping an eye on the Trump campaign. That is the top left corner. They're getting ready to turn out the lights. And then Nikki Haley. Oh, that is both literal and metaphorical. They're getting ready to turn the lights out. The Nikki Haley campaign. Oh. She didn't have enough American flags. That's the problem. You can also see the vote counting taking place in an undisclosed location in New Hampshire. I love this dude because I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm bald as fuck, but I'm gonna grow what hair I have out, and I'll have a ponytail. What little bit of hair I have, just like you, old dude. I'm into it. I call him old dude. He's probably like fucking 10 years older than me. I don't know. He's got a lot of liver spots. It is a ghost town at the Nikki Haley campaign headquarters in New Hampshire. We are awaiting comments from one Donald J. Trump from his campaign headquarters in New Hampshire. I mean, I'll get bored 5 minutes into it. I've heard it so many times now. Like, I don't know how many Trump rallies we'll cover this year because I am so over it. I am so over Donald Trump. I was amused by him for a while, but like the joke, it's over. It's old. Remember the early days of the Trump administration, covfefe and shit like that. He fucking he made this stupid offhand comment about the calm before the storm as he's taking pictures with a bunch of generals, and we get a whole goddamn cult just pops up because of that. We live in the worst timeline. It was just some dumbass shit he said early. Remember when he brought the national champion basketball team, and he brought them to the White House and fed them McDonald's? You remember? I remember. Remember when he went to Helsinki? And he had like a private meeting with Vladimir Putin for like an hour or two? Didn't let any American official in. They have no idea what was said between our president and the president of Russia. He came in straight into office, fired the head of the FBI like a month into his tenure. Remember Michael Flynn, who had to resign like fucking a week or something later? It was total chaos. Ah, the good old days. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of him. I'm sick of his antics. I'm sick of his followers. And God, when he threw the paper towel at the hurricane survivors. Yes. He went down to, was it Puerto Rico where he did that shit? He drew on the hurricane with the Sharpie. Like, that shit's hilarious. But it's not funny anymore. I don't think he's going to win. Like, we need to prepare for that possibility, because it's a stupid fucking country. And I don't know where we go as a country. If Joe Biden wins the popular vote by 4 or 5 million, and Donald Trump still wins because of the fucking Electoral College, pulls it off by like a few thousand votes over a couple of counties, because that's what it was, only like 40,000 votes in 2020 over 3 counties. It was something fucking stupid. If there had been 40,000 votes swing from Biden to Trump in those 3 counties in Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, whatever the fuck it was, like, that's crazy. We've got trials coming up, hopefully. I sincerely hope that we get the trial of Donald Trump on something before the election. And the most likely of those is the Jack Smith federal case, scheduled for March, but looks like it will at least get pushed back. I hope it doesn't get pushed back past the election. If it takes place in May, okay, cool. Polling always kind of overfavors Republicans now. After 2016, polls have been overly favorable to Republicans. We're still in a time where people are not tuned in You know when people are going to tune in to the general election this fucking fall? After the kids go back to school mid-September of this year, people will start paying attention to politics. And once they got Trump up in their face every day, I sincerely hope I think there's going to be a depression on both sides, right? So there was like a really motivated voter base on both sides in 2020, and we had the record turnout. I think Trump is going to depress people on the Republican side. People are going to say, well, if it's just rigged, what's the point? Also, there's the other side of the pendulum, right? The Republicans that are actually not in the Trump camp. I don't know who's the sane person who's a Republican and doesn't support Donald Trump. Who this magical unicorn is, but apparently they do exist. So hopefully that depression on the Trump side counterbalance the depression on the Biden side of the left, who can't stomach voting for somebody who has at the very least not exerted their power well enough over a genocide and humanitarian crisis. At the worst is complicit in said genocide and humanitarian crisis, because you look at a lot of the munitions that the Israelis are going to be using, and by proxy a lot of the munitions that Hamas is going to be using. They're going to say made in America or made in whatever proxy location, Taiwan, that we manufactured shit. What'd I just say? I don't even remember. That woman right there is tired. She's ready to go home. She's not high enough for this shit. I thought that we were getting Donald Trump imminently. So my apologies. But it has been kind of fun to sit here and look at a naked Nikki stage. No, Nikki is not naked on the stage. I might get a little more high here in just a little bit. Bring back fun, Trump. I don't know. Fun Trump to me was pre-political Trump. Trump would go, like David Letterman said it before he left. Like it was one of his last episodes, right? Because that was Dave is like doing his retirement tour as Trump is just preparing to do the escalator ride and shit, right? And Dave was like, it was all fun and games. We'd come, I'd make fun of him, I'd make fun of his dumb hair, I'd try to touch it. And we all laughed. It's not funny anymore. It was very old back in 2016. Now, we just named off a whole bunch of shit that he did that was hilarious. He's a stupid man. And in a lot of ways, like, I totally believe he is the president America deserves, to be completely honest with you. You're talking about the embodiment of the American zeitgeist. Like fucking, he kind of is. He's quintessentially American. Clinically, good evening. Only an America could produce someone like Donald Trump. So, you know, it was funny to me when he won in 2016. It was a long 4 years. It was a very long 4 years. All right, I get like. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here's old Trumpy boy. Has he got Tim Scott with him? What, Tim Scott asked his girlfriend to marry him and then he went to a fucking Trump rally? God damn. Dude. There's no God Bless America playing. I don't know if we're on the audio of the Trump campaign. Hold on, I'm gonna go to Washington Post. AP not exactly doing this well. Oh yeah. He's got Vivek as well. Oh shit, wrong one. The USA. Proud to be an American. Trying to give you a little taste of what the audio's like. You see Vivek, see Tim Scott. Is that Stephen Miller behind him? See Eric. Laura Trump. Here you go.
Let's go to him now live as he addresses his supporters in Nashua.
Well, I want to thank everybody. This is a fantastic state. This is a great.
What's New Hampshire?
You know, we won New Hampshire 3 times now. Three. We won.
You won every state in 2020. There was no primary.
It's a very, very special place to me. It's very important. If you remember in 2016, we came here and we needed that win and we won by 21 points and it was great. And today, I have to tell you, it was very interesting because I said, wow, what a great victory. But then somebody ran up to the stage all dressed up nicely when it was at 7. But now I just walked up and it's at 14. But she ran up when it was 7. And, you know, we have to do what's good for our party. And she was up and I said, wow, she's doing like a speech like she won. She didn't win, she lost. And you know, last week we had a little bit of a problem. And if you remember, Ron was very upset because she ran up and she pretended she won Iowa. And I looked around, I said, didn't she come in 3rd? Yeah, she came in 3rd. And then I looked at the polls. She was talking about most winnability, who's going to win, and I had one put up. I don't know if you see it, but I have one put up.
AP still says 8%.
Every single poll in the last 3 months against crooked Joe Biden, almost every poll. And she doesn't win those polls. And she doesn't win this. This is not your typical victory speech, but let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night. And you have the now very unpopular governor of this state. This guy, he's got to be on something. I've never seen anybody with energy. He's like hopscotch. And I'm watching this guy, and 2 weeks ago he said, we're going to win in the landslide, we're going to win. About 3 days ago he started saying, well, we want to do well. That's a big difference. But I walked out just now, we're 14 points up, and I don't know what it's going to be. But when she was up here, it was like...
AP still says 8.
And, with like 7% of the vote counted. Now, let me just tell you, we had an unbelievable week last week.
8 with 40% of the vote counted.
It was the best in the history of the caucus, in the history. And I remember I sort of had the same feeling. I'm up and I'm watching, and I said, she's taking a victory lap. And we beat her so badly, but Ron beat her also. Ron came in second and he left. She came in third and she's still hanging around.
I was thinking the same thing, Trumpy boy.
The Republican votes. I don't know if you saw that. Tremendous numbers
I can't get it.
Came out because in this state.
Oh shit.
Frankly, don't know what the hell he's doing in this state. In the Republican primary, they accept Democrats to vote. In fact, I think they had 4,000 Democrats before October 6th. They already voted. Now, they're only voting because they want to make me look as bad as possible.
October 6th, and you know what happened the next day.
2016. And if you really remember, and if you want to play it straight, we also won in 2020. By more. And we did much better in...
There was no primary.
We did in 2016. But as they said, we lost by a whisker, just by a whisker. No. But we can't let that happen. You have to have people that speak up. I said, I can go up and I can say to everybody, oh, thank you for the victory. It's wonderful. Or I can go up and say, who the hell was the imposter that went up on the stage before and claimed a victory? She did very poorly, actually. She had to win. The governor said,
this is hilarious.
She's going to win. Then she failed badly. Now I have here.
Did I accidentally rewind?
Do it in a minute or less. But the only person more angry than, let's say, me, but I don't get too angry, I get even. The only person.
His little hands.
The only because he was there, and he did fantastically well, by the way, and then he endorsed me. And we don't have to talk about Tim Scott, who, by the way, just got engaged, we have to tell you.
Congratulations, Tim.
And that's more important than all of this stuff.
Is it? Why is he behind you?
To know her very well is Vivek. I said Vivek.
It rhymes with cake.
I said Vivek. Go up and say a few words about it. He has to do it in 1 minute or less, and then we're going to just say, we had one hell of a night tonight. And one other thing, before Vivek comes, do you see that poll? We're going to put it up. We have beaten Biden. You could almost say...
Beaten Biden.
Who the hell can't? The man can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs off a stage. Who can't? But... Vivek, 1 minute or less. Go do it, Vivek.
What was that?
Is America first defeating America last. That's what we saw tonight. If you want America last, you can go to Joe Biden. You got another.
Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh shit! Washington Post cutting away.
Hits at Nikki Haley. That's what seems to be happening right now. James Holman, I want to just talk a little bit about what we heard from Donald Trump right there. When he was declaring his victory in Iowa, he really...
I want to go back to Vivek.
He stuck to the script.
I like Holman, but I want to go back to Vivek.
Of America first, and that means something. Now, USA and Donald Trump, America first. Now, I got 30 seconds left. I want to make this point here, okay? We got to say this.
USA, Donald Trump, America first.
Continuing in this race.
Bumper sticker.
Underbelly of American politics, where the mega donors are trying to do one thing when we the people say another. And it's up to us, to we the people, to at long last say, hell no. We the people create a government that is accountable to us. And we the people have said tonight, we want, again, as we did in Iowa, Donald J. Trump. And so you want to actually speak truth. That's the truth tonight. And the only thing they're rooting for is an ugly thing that we don't want to see happen. That's what these people are rooting for, is playing to say long enough so the Reid Hoffmans and the ugly Democratic George Soros Jr.'s who are funding the lawsuits against Trump can prop up their puppet. We say no to that vision. I say the general election begins tonight, and this man will win it in a landslide. God bless you. Donald J. Trump. Vote Trump USA.
He might actually win it in a landslide, because I would call 4 or 5 million votes to Joe Biden a landslide.
So this was.
But Donald Trump could win.
Thank everybody in the audience, and I want to thank the people that are standing behind me. You know,
all demons in human skin. That's a good summation.
Immigration's a big deal, a very big deal. We have millions and millions of people flowing into our country illegally.
Oh no, I don't have a glass of tea.
Who the hell they are? They come from prisons, and they come from.
Listen, I'm wearing my jammies.
And it's just killing our country. And I'm talking about millions and millions and millions. They are drug dealers. They're everybody. And they come in just like walking right through. There's nobody to check, and there's nobody to vet. And we have a man with us tonight, Tom Homan, who is central casting. He's central casting. And I'd like you to say a few words about the border and who's going to solve that problem and how quick are we going to do it, Tom? Go ahead, please.
Is he wrapping up? Who's this chuckle fuck?
Look, I worked for 6 presidents down around Reagan, and every president I ever worked for did something to secure the border. But no one did more than President Trump. The most secure border in my life.
You worked for Ronald Reagan? You don't want to know what I think about you folks.
And Donald Trump's going to do it again. We're going to lock the border down, and we're going to protect Americans. Because what's happening at the border right now, a record number of Americans have died from fentanyl poisoning. A record number of migrants have died. A record number of women and children have been sex trafficked.
I mean, I'm kind of high, so who am I to judge?
Who's proven he can secure the border, and he's standing to my left, Donald J. Trump. He's going to do it again.
Thank you very much, Tom. So this is an evening that I will not forget because it's the 3rd time. But more importantly, I think it's going to be the most important time.
Feels like the 3rd time.
I think somebody said you rarely, if you win both, they've never had a loser. Let me put it that way. When you win Iowa and you win New Hampshire, they've never had a loss. There's never been. So we're not going to be the first, I can tell you. And I just do want to reiterate the polls. We're way up on everybody. We're way up.
What's wrong with the Polish people?
And over the last couple of months, if you check, and you have to remember, in 2016, they were saying, oh, what does he know about elections? He's not going to win. He can't win. He can't. Well, we won. And we got millions, and you can check this, and I hope the cameras don't turn off because they hate this, but we got millions and millions of more votes the second time. Right, Mr. Congressman? Millions and millions.
And you still got beat by 8 million votes.
COVID, and they used COVID to cheat, and they did a lot of other things.
I can't believe I'm seeing somebody continue to gloat about losing by 8 million at a historic margin.
Because if you forget, you never recover from it, and you repeat, and we're not going to repeat. We're going to have the greatest election success. We're going to turn our country around. If you take a look throughout the history of our country, if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of this not great country right now, it's a country in decline. It's a troubled country. It's a failing country, frankly. But if you took the 10 worst presidents and put them together, the 10 worst, absolutely 10 worst. I used to say 5. Remember I started, I'd say 5.
Where do you put yourself, sir?
We can add another 5. They would not have done the damage that crooked Joe Biden has done to our wonderful country. They would not have done the damage. There's never been anything like it. And you say, are they stupid people? I don't think so, because nobody can cheat that well if they're stupid. Do they hate our country? They must hate our country, because there's no other reason that they can be doing the thing.
That is the closest thing to a logical statement that Trump has ever made.
Taxes times 4. They want to let the Trump tax cuts, the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, they want them to expire. Your taxes are going to go through the roof. You take a look at regulations. They're throwing regulations. You can't breathe. You can't even breathe with what they're doing. You take a look at our border. So bad. There's never been a border like this in the world. 4 years ago, we had the safest, best border in the United States. I built hundreds of miles of border wall. And they always say, oh, he didn't build hundreds of miles, because if there's a board laying on the ground, they say that's a renovation. They call it a renovation. If there's 2 nails laying from 50 years ago, they say, oh, that was a renovation. Very dishonest people, and you're always fighting them. And just a little note to Nikki.
Who is them?
But if she did, she would be under investigation by those people in 15 minutes. And I could tell you 5 reasons why already. Not big reasons. A little stuff that she doesn't want to talk about. But she will be under investigation within minutes. And so would Ron have been.
Well, I mean, just the fucking southern border in our history.
Now, Vivek, I don't think would be at all, because
we had a whole war over the Rio Grande.
And Tim Scott, I know, would never. That's no chance. Hey, Tim, do you want to say something? Come on. I want him to say something.
Yo, let Tim Scott say something. What up, Tim?
The president said a double-digit win in New Hampshire, and you delivered a double-digit win for President Trump.
But I don't think that's true.
To my home state starting tomorrow.
AP still has 8%.
It is time for the Republican Party to coalesce around our nominee and the next president of the United States, Donald Trump. Let's get that party started tonight.
What a good guy. What a good man he is. But just remember, I did hear Nikki say, and now it's off to South Carolina. Well, I love South Carolina. I love it. But, you know, she forgot one thing. She forgot one thing. Next week, it's Nevada. Next week, it's Nevada. It's not South Carolina. We love South Carolina, but next week, it's Nevada. And I'm pleased to announce we just won Nevada. We just won 100%. Because all of them, they looked at it, and they took polls, and I was polling at 95% to 4 or 5%, and they decided not to play in Nevada. So we just won Nevada. We have a man from Nevada here, Steve Wynn, wherever he may be. And
he was polling at 100% Nevada, so.
Money in Nevada. Doesn't live there, but he makes a hell of a lot of money. He makes money everywhere he goes, actually. So money machine. Maybe we'll put you, you know what? Put him at Treasury. You want to make a little money? Let's put you. Anyways, good to have you guys. But we go to Nevada, and that's been won, so we pick up all of those delegates. And then we do go to South Carolina, where we've done really well, where I've done well. We have a great governor and lieutenant governor and great everything, because almost every one of them have endorsed me. 2 great senators, which is hard. I mean, did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think
yes, Nikki Haley appointed
senator of his state, and
Tim Scott to be senator.
Endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's why he's a great politician.
Jesus.
That's why he's a great politician. So this is a great evening, and it is, you know, we are going to Nevada for a little while. We're not going to have to do too much. We have a great team there. But it's a team that we can now send someplace else. They did a fantastic job, but and it's a fantastic place, really a fantastic place. But we'll be leaving there very quickly. We'll head out to South Carolina, where I think
Vivek is a cuck. Did you just see what Tim Scott did?
5-0, 50 points up on a person that was governor. That tells you something. But I felt I should do this.
But Vivek is a cuck.
I find in life you can't let people get away with bullshit, okay? You can't. You just can't do that. And when I
Says King Bullshit.
that probably wasn't so fancy, come up, I said, what's she doing? We won. And she did the same thing last week.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I said, get up there and you let them know. We are going to win this. We have no choice. If we don't win, I think our country is finished. I do.
No, what he means is if he doesn't win, he's going to jail.
We have an opportunity to do something so amazing. And the good news and the reason we have such support, the best numbers I've ever had, the reason we have support is because they are so bad at what they're doing and so evil. And they're destroying our country. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank this group of people.
Thank you for being a friend.
We will never forget. And I made a pledge.
Travel down the road and back again.
That you have the highest energy costs in the country. In the first year, they're going to be reduced by 50% because we are going to drill, baby, drill. Drill.
You're already like producing record amounts.
Come way down. But in the first year, your energy costs are going down by 50%. Thank you very much. We love you. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on the trail. And thank you, everybody.
That's Vivek's line.
We will see you on the trail. Thanks.
I'm a soul man. We'll see what Washington Post is saying.
Month is a long time in politics. Whether Haley can build that momentum that she needs to build going into South Carolina is going to be the key thing we're watching.
Rhonda, what do those late endorsements from those senators mean?
She ain't got nothing.
Someone who covers Congress so closely.
Well, it is something that I've been watching because back in
her coat.
as well as 2020, we did see some of the national Republicans shift their messaging on Trump. We saw them be very critical.
Bogey!
Somebody like Lindsey Graham, who's very critical of the former president, all to shift that messaging and be very supportive of him. So to see congressional Republicans in the House, of course, in the Senate, come up and support the former president after January 6th, after the indictments, after all of this, that's really telling when you want to look at the direction the Republican Party wants to go on.
There has to be like another cat or something outside. Smokey is going fucking nuts.
Behind Donald Trump, are they going to perhaps try to give Nikki Haley a little bit of a boost? Some of them that haven't yet endorsed. But it is an important factor, I think, when you look at national Republicans and see which way they're going, because essentially that's where the party is going. And this is probably one of the last opportunities if the Republican Party wanted to change that course to be more moderate, less baggage. This would be the contest to do it in, this entire primary contest.
They clearly don't.
National Republicans support Trump again. That's truly telling. So we'll have to see and look at that endorsement count moving forward as we continue on in the coming weeks. But it really is fascinating times to be reporting on a primary like this, where you have a person who voters feel is the incumbent president, the former President Trump, and you have somebody who worked in his administration, was picked by him, all to battle it out. So of course we'll be watching and reporting to our viewers what happens next.
Thanks so much, Rhonda. James, I want to hear more about what you'll be.
That's gonna be so wild. After Trump kicks the bucket, Washington Post has it at 8% as well. Yeah, I don't really want to do. I don't want to do hard news. Let's do this hard news. Hard as a rock. When Mr. Dwayne Johnson was on CNBC this morning. Lots of news coming out of WWE. Venus, good evening. Welcome. And you are not wrong. Not at all.
9. They rang the bell. You may have seen that just a moment ago, of course. And this on news that Netflix will become the home of WWE's Raw next year. Also adding 2 new directors.
I don't know what to think about this. I watched Monday Night Raw last night. Remember a couple of weeks ago I had to sign up for YouTube TV to watch the debate. I've been watching wrestling since because I have it. I have it for like a month. I've been watching wrestling every Monday and Wednesday night and Friday night. I watch Monday Night Raw. I cook dinner while Raw because I can watch TV over the counter that I have here as I fix dinner. So I watch wrestling. And wrestling's been good here recently. It's a downgrade. It's a downgrade from the Hogan stories. Okay, it's going to be hard to top. I'm not drunk, I'm just sad. I'm not drunk, I'm just sad. Oh, but WWE Raw is going to be on Netflix starting in 2025. It's more logical now. There's still a soap opera element to it. There has to be. I would say it's more sports-based, realistic now. It's not going to have commercials on it. And that's wild to me. I assumed they would still be playing commercials.
Directors to its board. One of them sitting here joining us now in a CNBC exclusive is Ari Emanuel. He's the CEO of TKO and, of course, of Endeavor as well. And Dwayne Johnson, actor, producer, entrepreneur, and newly appointed director at TKO. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. It's great to see you and see you in person.
Good to see you.
Dwayne as well. All right, let me start with the news this morning that from the stock market.
It's apparently a 15-year deal.
Which is the Raw deal,
right?
With Netflix. Just give us some of the numbers behind this. The filing said over $5 billion over 10 years.
Correct.
A lot of debate amongst investors, how much that's a multiple to your current deal. What can you tell them right now in terms of, from monetary perspective, how significant this is and how much of an improvement it is over the previous deal?
Well, all I say is that we are in line with the market's expectations of where our step up would be. And the only other thing I would say is it's Netflix. They're the global leader. They're the best company with regard to sports entertainment, whether they've done it with Formula One, whether they've done it with Tour de France. And this is kind of the next iteration as they go to live and moving into live.
This is the first time I've ever saw this dude. So this is, if you've watched HBO's Entourage, this is who Ari's, Jeremy Piven's character is based on. And that's kind of wild. He does not seem like that sort of a personality.
Going to move more strongly into live? Is this another sign of that?
You'll ask them post-close. And
we will, but you have a sense of that. You just negotiated with them.
I think that this is an important step for them in their AVOD service and in their subscription service. So I think live is important for them, yes.
Now, you said this was in line with expectations, but clearly not. I mean, the stock's up 23%.
I think the word Netflix is actually very important for this. And, a 10-year deal with Raw, it's a big deal.
And they get a lot as well outside the U.S. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, they get the PLEs. They get SmackDown.
Good point. Good point, DJ Dub.
So for us, it kind of just strengthens the brand on a global basis with that relationship.
So you have Peacock domestically for the WWE Network.
Correct.
That goes until March of 26. You've got UFC still, ESPN domestically through the end of 25.
Correct.
And now you got this deal done as well.
Yeah.
And you got SmackDown, that was done also?
We did SmackDown. We moved it from Fox to NBC.
Right.
Right. And then we moved also NXT to CW.
Okay, so you're done for now.
Never.
Just for a moment.
As your new board member says here.
He's putting the strains on me, but it's understandable. We got to integrate a lot of stuff, as we've said, and do all the kind of, we've done that on our marketing side.
Let Jim Cramer talk.
Yeah, we still got a lot of work to do.
Dwayne, congratulations on the board seat.
Thank you.
You talked a lot about what a testament it is to your dad and your grandfather.
Right.
What does that mean? It's unprecedented.
Now, I don't know if they're going to mention it in this interview or not, but one of the things that he apparently got out of this deal is that he now owns The Rock. For the longest time, that has been the WWE's name. That's why he went by Dwayne Johnson for a while he was in Hollywood, and then he started partnering with WWE again, and he became Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But he now straight up owns the trademark to The Rock.
What you've done from becoming an athlete performer to this.
Thank you.
And apparently he's wrestling.
And I think this move for us, for those who don't know, Ari certainly knows this. My grandfather wrestled in the WWE back when it was the WWF here in New York. My dad wrestled, and then here I come along. And I like to say that my grandfather, my dad, they never would have thought that something like this would happen. In that, I was able to sit at this table now, and that is a table that they helped build. So I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge this guy. There's no CEO in the world like this guy. We've known each other for 20 years. We've done a lot of big business together, and this is why you're seeing I think these game-changing deals that he's making is a reflection, I think, of who he is. And when it comes to Netflix, absolutely. When it comes to Netflix,
he's part of corporate now.
2 weeks live. That's a lot of Rock raising the eyebrow every week for Netflix. So we're excited.
Well, Dwayne, again, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, Jim. You gave me a book years ago, by the way.
Yes, I did.
I appreciate that. I forgot that. You signed it to me. Thank you.
You are a fabulous business person, and you know many great things, including the stock market.
Just jacking each other off.
Spring football is a fabulous thing because, as you say, these are guys who play for dinner. We have too many players out on the field.
Yeah, the Rock over here also owns a football league, or part of a football league. What is it? It's not the XFL anymore, is it? Does anybody watch that shit that knows what? It's the AFL and the XFL have merged. I think it's the AFL. I don't think it's XFL anymore.
Don't play for dinner, and when it gets time, they say for who, for what. When they don't have to tackle, they walk away. You are seeing some tremendous success. Players going from there to the big leagues. So yes. I want to know, what's the percentage? Are these guys who otherwise might just be doing absolutely nothing because they're thrown away after they get cut? This is a way for these young men to have a second career.
That's right, Jim. It's a great opportunity for these players. I always like to say, as you guys know, there's 53 men in an NFL roster. I was always number 54. DJ, you're good, but if you had a little bit more time and experience, you might make it, but this is where your dream ends. Well, then in comes the XFL, in comes the USFL, then we wind up merging to make the UFL. Opportunities for these players. And you know what's interesting? What we have found, and Ari knows this as he's come to these games, you find that these guys, when they lace up their cleats, put the helmet on, they put their hands in the dirt, the reason why they play and the reason why they leave it all on the field just becomes a different thing. They may not be making the $40, $50, $100 million deals, but like you said, they're playing for their families, they're playing to eat, and it's a different kind of hunger.
And that's why I love watching them. And I always root for certain guys.
I'm hungry.
I like daily fantasy, so I can put with DraftKings, so I can bet on who's going to do well because I like to.
That is a dumb man. Jim Cramer is a dumb fucking man.
I owned a bar San Miguel. I had to give it up because my wife created a mezcal company. Terramana was the first company that actually treated me like an important person. A small bar in Mexico.
I mean, he said a mezcal company. Isn't that a brand? Isn't that a specific type of tequila? How can you create a mezcal company? I'm very confused. Or is it like a tequila from a certain region?
So, a Mexican restaurant.
It's a type, not a brand. Okay.
You've instructed them to treat small business people equal to large business people, but you were wasteful. and gracious. And so you've instructed people, and that's winning.
Well, it's very important. Thank you for saying that. It's very important. It's just like how we run our businesses.
Really? They're slobbering all over each other.
And in this case with Terramana, we wanted to build a tequila company that hopefully would make some impact. We wound up shattering all records in the tequila business space in that category, which has been wonderful, but also do it with some humility and do it with the second part of the word Terramana, which is mana. And that spirit that comes from in here. So thank you for acknowledging that. I appreciate it.
I have to Carl.
They're all fired, by the way, the ones that...
I had a cutout, a life-size cutout of you.
You know, I bet a guillotine...
And you know who you crushed?
Would fit right in front of their desk.
Clooney. I think he did okay too.
He did okay too, yes.
I don't know. I would spare Clooney. I'm a big George Clooney fan. I wouldn't spare anybody on that set though. Let's talk about The Rock has been very unpopular lately. He's had a series of really bad moves on his part. So I thought his comeback to wrestling was trying to rehab his image. I might be wrong. It might have had more to do with business, given that he is now on the board of TKO. Another celebrity who's been getting a lot of hate lately is Madonna. Concert goers are actually suing Madonna and Live Nation over the late start time. The New Yorkers went to a concert at the Barclays Center in December. Two New York City men wanted to get into the groove of a Madonna concert. They wanted to get their Vogue on. Now they're suing the pop superstar for starting her show late because they had to get up early the next day. I mean, Madonna, know your audience. You're not playing to 20-year-olds. They got work tomorrow.
This one centered around pop icon Madonna. She's facing the music. The superstar is being sued for failing to get into the groove and start a recent concert more than 2 hours late. Two men actually bought tickets for her December 13th celebration tour at Barclays Center. Well, fans cherished those tickets that the show would start at 8:30 p.m.
Stop with the puns.
No holiday. Madonna didn't take the stage until borderline 11.
God damn it.
Men now expressing themselves, saying there was limited ride sharing available because the concert didn't end until after 1 a.m. And they lived to tell about it because they were forced to pay for private transportation. And like a prayer, the lawsuit is seeking unspecified damages. I don't know how our legal contributor, Shauna Lloyd, could not be laughing at this moment. Come on, Shauna. That intro took a lot of work.
Because she didn't know any fucking Madonna songs.
Madonna, clearly. Thank you. She's laughing.
Story, Kira.
All right, I'm not going to make you name any tunes, but let's get to the chase here. Does this argument on behalf of these...
So make her name them and do them quicker than a ray of light.
...standing here?
You know, it's interesting, Kira, when you first hear the story, you're kind of like, a concert late, can we really do this? But what they're alleging essentially is that it was a false and deceptive trade act. They were sold a concert that had they known it was going to be 2 hours late, they may not have still bought the ticket. And under New York law, this is considered a deceptive trade practice if they relied on the messaging and that it can be...
Okay, here's the thing. If it said the show, I think it was the show started at 8:30 and she came out at 10:30. If there were like two opening acts, that's acceptable. But I don't think there was. I don't think there was an opening act. I think it was just like them staring at a stage for 2 hours. So I totally understand. It would be normal if there's two opening acts. But like I've noticed with a lot of like the bigger acts, they don't do opening acts. Like Lady Gaga didn't have an opening act. She did like 2.5 hours on her own. Guns N' Roses didn't have an opening act. They did like 2.5 hours on their own. So if there was an opening act, that's totally normal. Madonna would start at 10 because it would be like The opening act would go on at 8:30. They'd probably have a 40-minute set. It'd be about a 20-minute setup between bands. Next act comes on. They have a 40-minute set. 20 or more set up for Madonna. So like that, but if they just sat there and looked at the stage for 2 hours, I don't blame them for suing.
Shown that they were damaged by relying on it, and it did not happening. So this is going to be really interesting when you think about it.
Oh, yes, it is. And I sure hope we get to talk to these plaintiffs because I have so many questions for them. So if Madonna were to lose this case, you know, do you think it sets some sort of precedent? I mean, could we expect to see lawsuits being brought against artists who are 15 minutes late, 30 minutes late? I mean, where do you draw the line?
You know, that's part of it, right? You have to be able to show that this actually damaged you and that you would not have purchased this ticket. Let's say just like a dinner reservation. If I had known it was at 10:30, I would not have gone. And then you have to show how.
Okay, so if she played, and I think her show's like 2 hours because I watched it. I watched one of her shows in London or whatever the fuck on this tour. I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of skimmed through and watched the songs I wanted to see. But it was like 2 hours. So she put on a 2-hour show. They are in New York at the Barclays? It was the Barclays Center. It's in Brooklyn. They didn't get out of there until midnight 30. They're lucky if they're at their cars by 1 o'clock. How long did it take them to get it out of like fucking Brooklyn from there? Holy shit. We're talking like they weren't home until 2 or 3 in the morning. So I understand
how it actually damaged you. And let's remember, it's a class action. So part of it is that everyone had the same type of harm by her being late. So really the most that you could really point out are ticket sales. You might not have bought the ticket. That's really what we're looking at. Now, when we talk about a positive outcome in a trial like this, if she was to have found this to be deceptive trade practices, this could have a chilling effect on concerts because now artists know that they have to start a performance within a relatively
good
amount of time after the ticket states it's going to start.
That's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing. I'm all about that. Oh my God, the artist might have to start their concert within a reasonable amount of time of what's printed on the ticket. I'm for that. Just throwing that out there. Did you guys know? Did you guys hear about the interview that took the internet by storm? Was it last week? Was it the week before? It was Cat Williams on Shannon Sharp's podcast. Everybody was fucking talking about that shit. It's not loading up over here. Ruining my fucking intro. Cat Williams' appearance apparently really chapped Dave Chappelle's ass. And I want to hear what Dave Chappelle has got his panties in a wad about.
And what part of the game is this? He only eats the niggas. He didn't say anything about any of these white boys. And none of these white boys function like that. And Cat is one of the best painters in the game. So why are you drawing all ugly pictures of us? Stop. And Cat and hurt people, but I'm a hurt person that never hurt people. And he does it all the time. Fuck this one and fuck that one and fuck this one. But nigga, I didn't hear anything that you did wrong. He didn't do nothing wrong. Cat didn't do nothing wrong.
And Wreck TV.
I'm gonna bring a picture of a black guy. Cat did this to me. Cat was talking about shit that niggas did to other niggas, but not about anything that niggas did to him. If I told my story, it would break your heart. Your heart. If I told my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything and never, ever told on anybody. And this nigga is the arbiter of truth. Cat, listen, I fuck with Cat hard.
And Wreck TV.
Wait, D-Ray, just tell me, what part of the game fucks up another nigga's paper?
And Wreck
What part
TV.
of the game is about tilling on another nigga? Tiffany Haddish is lifting something heavy, and as clumsy as she is, I don't disagree with Cat. He be telling the real shit.
And
Man,
Wreck
this one's fucked up this
TV.
way, and that one's fucked up this way. Yes, nigga, that is true. But why would you say that? Because all of us are trying to be in a better situation. Can we get over it?
Yes, it's true, but why would you say that? Like, fucking, Dave, do you have any self-awareness, my friend? Apparently, Dave's beef was that Cat didn't call out any white people, but apparently Cat did. He called out, like, the whole Joe Rogan crew. I don't know. I didn't listen to it. Curiouser told me I should listen to it. That audio drop at the during that video was annoying as shit. You know what's not annoying? Kitties. Even big kitties are just kitties. Acting like kitties. Dave's wife is like Asian, isn't she? I might be wrong on that. I'm not gonna down somebody for the way they look. I'm a fucking ugly motherfucker. This fugly face over here. Alright, I promise from now on I'm gonna stick to my schedule. Sundays and Thursdays, special nights when we have primaries and debates and speeches and shit. I'll be with you guys again on Thursday night for your regularly scheduled dose of the news gimp. Sunday and Thursday. I am going to stick to Sunday and Thursday. Always with you guys on Sunday, Thursday, 8 p.m. And then good night, all. I love you guys. Snicks, good evening. Exactly, a cat's a cat. That's just a big old kitty. Look at how adorable those paws are. Snicks, you're still hot. You certainly raise the temperature when you come into the chat. I don't know that I was ever hot. I was not a bad-looking guy. I think I even had a boss tell me that one time. Like, you could be on TV if you wanted to. You're not a bad-looking guy. This is when I was doing radio. I love this kitty. Remember, like, if you hear that I overdosed or I killed myself, that's a setup. Somebody lied to you. The cops are lying to you. You hear I got eaten by a big kitty, where I choked to death or had a heart attack alone in my apartment. They didn't find me for 2 weeks. That's how I died. That's true. You can believe those stories. They tell you I overdosed or I killed myself. Ain't a fucking chance in hell. I want to pet those paws. Look at those big old paws. I don't know how I feel about Ashton Kutcher. Like I don't want to dislike him. However, him and his like bougie wife and talking about like not bathing their kids and shit. He's a Scientologist. Well, we can toss him in the trash pyre then. Okay, I want to ask you guys something. Let me, is it wrong of me? Oh, that would make sense that he would defend Danny. Okay, is it wrong of me? Is it wrong of me? Like, I really liked the band The Killers. I was really into them. And then I found out that the lead singer was a Mormon. And, like, I just haven't liked a song since. It was after I love is it like the album called Battleborn? Like, that entire album is just fantastic. Every song since, haven't enjoyed it. Don't even look at him the same way anymore. Found out he was a Mormon and like, But I loved the Killers. They were so good. A Mormon that's a rock star. Doesn't look a thing like Jesus. Oh, so we don't know for sure if they're Scientologists or not? Just maybe? Damn Scientologists. Oh, I've lost shit. Hold on. Where'd the kitty go? Apparently somebody tried to open Sparkle's door. There's Kitty. I mean, I still listen to them, but I haven't liked this song. Like, I haven't listened to the last, like, 2 albums. They did a Christmas album. Like, original songs. The red flag right there. Alright, go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the